There are about a million different AI agencies that you could start, but I'm going to show you the one that got me to my first $100,000 the fastest in three simple phases. And the third phase is going to be the most important to show you how to actually run a sustainable and growth oriented AI agency. Very simple. Now, let's dive in and let me show you some credibility here. Yes, I've actually gotten legit results, multiple six figures. This is just Stripe, by the way. This is not including PayPal, where we've had clients pay us over $100,000. I have multiple clients that have done that. And also you can see here our builds that we've done for whether it be close to 7 grand, 6 grand, 5 grand, 4 grand, both Canadian and USD. I'm in Canada as of right now. And yeah, you can see some other screenshots here from, let's say, gross volume in a week. We got 17K, net volume of 16, because I know people want to see net volume as well. And then I even included my very first Stripe screenshot of 2,500 per month US for my very first client back when I originally got started. This took me almost, I would say, about 8 to 10 months to get that first client through the door, and we stuck with it. So here we are. But let's get to the good stuff and why you're here. So phase 1 of 3 of starting your own AI agency and actually get this up and running is, number 1, you want to pick a person. All right, pick who you are going to solve a problem for, I should say. And you could choose coaches. And I know you want to choose coaches, agencies, and consultants so bad. But let me tell you something. This is a bad decision. Fortunately, I got in early. And it's not to say that you can't be successful if you choose a different industry. But these people are so sophisticated, and they already know all the AI claims. So do not go for them. That's what I recommend. I recommend you go for trades and professional services, because this will allow you to solve problems for people that are consistent in the problems they need solved. Coaches, they could change up what type of coaching they're doing, and then you got to change your offer all the time and all this stuff. But if you just went for legal practices, they obviously just have specific problems. You went for HVAC companies, they just have specific problems, and they're not going to do anything else other than provide HVAC services or provide legal services. That's it. So they're always going to be around. They always have needs that you can solve. So pick one, and I recommend these people here. Again, also, they're not that aware of AI and how it can solve their problems, and they don't even know how to do it, and they would rather pay somebody like you to do it for them. So do it for them. All right, so once you pick your person, you're going to pick a problem to solve. Now, you could pick one of two things here. There's revenue generation and operations. Operations is saving time and being more efficient with their current systems that they have internally. So that's where AI automation comes in that regard. But I recommend revenue generation because there is no ceiling to revenue generation. You can just keep making them more money. Whereas if you do anything operations wise, where you see all these like N8N operational type of builds, you're always going to be capped at a certain level, because in order to get better at operations and to invest back into that, marketing needs to be through the roof, making more money in order to reinvest back into better operations. So you might as well be on the side where you have uncapped potential. So just pick a problem within revenue generation. I recommend lead generation. That's where I started. You could do appointment setting. That's what I transitioned to. And you could do sales optimization, which is ultimately what I added on. So like these are different levels that you can add on to your services in regards to revenue generation. So pick a problem and solve it. Next is going to be pick the system or the mechanism that you're going to use in order to solve that problem. All right. I recommend if you are more advanced, you could use something like paid ads. But let's say you're a little bit newer and you're just breaking into the AI game and you're growth operating for these different companies and you want to start organically. I would recommend you could do an email activation campaign where specifically with these trade services and professional services, they probably have a ton of leads, a ton of data, a big email list, relatively good size, where you can come in and reactivate it and actually do some automated email marketing campaigns for them. They're probably not going to be that good at copywriting and writing offers. That's where you can come in and handle that whole process for them. And again, if you build an AI automation that can handle it for them, you don't really need to put that much work into it, and you can charge a really good retainer fee or even a performance fee for that as well. Or you could do the one that made me a bunch of money, which is LinkedIn automation. And the reason why I recommend LinkedIn is because it is B2B. Let me just preface this. I actually can't stand the platform of LinkedIn, but just how people are on there. But you know what? It makes me money. So whatever. So if I'm going to go on there and find B2B companies that want to generate leads, book appointments, and increase sales with LinkedIn Organic, then all I got to do is build a LinkedIn automation that supports that and solves that problem. So that's what I went ahead and did. And I built an agency that was fully based on AI on top of that, and it worked. So I recommend that. It's still very untapped in LinkedIn. A lot of people don't know how to utilize it properly. So that's an opportunity for you. Next, we're going to go into phase 2. And basically the first thing is creating an offer. And I'm sure you've heard this before. A lot of people struggle to create a good offer. All you're really going to do is take your base principles that we just had here, which is the person, the problem, and the system, and put that into an offer and price it accordingly in order to get people to take action on working with you. So what this looks like, it could be a revenue share model or a performance model. So what this looks like is, let's say you take 10 to 25% of sales and revenue generated from your efforts on the system that you build for your client. Or you can also do a performance incentive. So let's say you do like a $2,000 setup fee, and then you only make your profit off of the performance incentive. So once you make them 50 grand, you get an additional 10 grand on top of that, or 5K on top of that. Whatever you want to structure it as that seems fit, that's how you can structure it. Another one is going to be retainer plus rev share. So you can come in and quote them at about $1,800 to $2,500 per month plus 10 to 25% in revenue generated. And that's where you can justify that your true profit is made off of the revenue generated from retaining the client and getting them results. People like to see that. So especially if you're newer, I recommend always going with some sort of retainer slash revenue share model, maybe a small retainer and then higher revenue percentage. And then that way you're incentivized to actually get them results. And even if you go in with a pure performance or rev share type of offer, a lot of people are more so willing to take you up on that just to prove that you actually know what you're doing and you're confident in your services. And worst case scenario, let's say you do charge a upfront fee or a retainer, you could always say, hey, listen, if you don't get results by X date, you don't pay, you just send them the money back, no questions asked. So that way, at least you do get some money up front to then afford your services and provide them a good service. So that's what I recommend. And there's a different way we can go about packaging this. I might say that for another video because offers are very important, especially in this market. So we'll go over that in another video. Next is going to be your outreach. And I'll keep this super simple. Just use your outreach method that you're going to be using from the system that you pick. So if you pick an email system, then just do email outreach. You're going to be sharpening your skills on how to actually convert with email. And it's actually a really useful technique when you're in a sales call with somebody because you can just use the example of the system working with the client that you're about to sign. Like if they ever push back and they have uncertainty about the system actually working for them, you can just look at them and say, hey, John, listen, we're on this call right now, right? They're going to go, right. Well, we used our system to get you here. So it's proof, your proof that it works. How does that sound, right? And ultimately, I've actually closed some clients with that exact method, just showing them, hey, like if you're uncertain about the system, you're sitting here, right? We'll book you more appointments, we'll get you on more sales calls, and we'll help you convert. And that has landed me a few clients in that regard. So really powerful way, just use your own method that you're going to use. LinkedIn, ads, email, whatever, use it. Last one here is the conversion process. Part of the outreach, obviously, is getting them to convert. Well, you got to be good at sales, and that's just practicing the skill as you go. Now, here's my recommendation for you. If you are doing a revenue share or performance model offer, you could probably get away with a good offer doing a one-call close and just get the client onboarded, given it's purely performance-based. Most people won't really need like a second or a third sales call for that. But if you are doing outbound and you are going to be charging some sort of upfront or retainer fee, I recommend a 2-call close. The first one's going to be discovery, of course, and the second one is going to be the actual sales call where you basically build out the system or you showcase how the system's going to be put into their business and make them the promise and the offer in order to do so. They're going to pay some upfront fee. Then you can give them some sort of guarantee in order to mitigate any buyer's risk in that regard. So that's all that is. And then the nurture process is super simple. I recommend in between call 1 and call number 2, even before you jump on that first call with somebody, you're educating your prospects. And all that could really be is even just sending them a YouTube video of the system that you've built out or your process and helping other brands. If you have case studies, testimonials, or you can showcase how other people are using the system if you don't yet have your own case studies and testimonials, you can do that. And basically just talk about the problems that the person is going to have solved. That's it. You just need to talk about that you understand where they're at and where they want to get to in these nurture videos, because then it basically seems like you know what you're talking about and people are more willing to trust you with their business. So that's that. Now what you want to do is a simple value proposition. I'm sure you guys see this all the time, but most people don't know how to structure it correctly. And all you really do is you take up your first three principles here, which is the person, problem, and system, and you can put this into a value prop as you're crafting your offer, right? So you help person to solve problem without pain point using the unique mechanism or system that you have. And I'll probably do another video on this along with the offer just to get a little bit more in detail. But ultimately, you're basically telling them, hey, I help HVAC companies to book more replacement jobs without spending 10 grand a month on Facebook ads using the organic AI HVAC conversion system. Something like that, right? Now that unique mechanism is a little bit long for a phrase. I'd probably shorten that up, but you get the idea. Now I'll probably put that into another video someday because that's a really important one in regards to how to structure that, but that's ultimately what's going to get people's attention, especially when you're doing outreach. So that's phase two. Phase three, this is the most important one of them all. And the reason being is because nobody talks about any of this. I see all these guys on YouTube talking about AI and this and this and that. No one talks about the importance of phase three when it comes to onboarding, fulfillment, and actually retaining your clients. Because what good is it if you're building a business that you're always trying to chase the next person? Why not have a business that actually retains clients that are going to be paying you month after month? So onboarding within the first 7 days are crucial, okay? This is how you keep a client, what I'm about to explain to you here. So you don't have to deal with refunds or people having buyer's remorse, any of that. This is how you keep clients. This is how you keep people to actually work with you for the long run. So if they have a good experience with you in the beginning of your working relationship, they're more likely to stay on, given that you obviously provide a good service and value in exchange for their money, right? So onboarding, what I would do is three things. I would take a survey, and this survey is really, really simple. It's just where they are and where they want to get to and what's stopping them. You give them a survey to fill out before your onboarding call. They'll fill it out. You can then track where they are, what's blocking them, and where they want to go. And ultimately, if anything ever arises in a client conversation, if they're a little unsure as to like things are working or what's happening, blah, 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 you can always refer back to this and be like, hey, look, like you used to be struggling with this. We're already solving it. We're that much closer to end goal that you talked about. You can map it out for them. Next, this is a key, this is a hack, okay? And this is so important, the welcome call. Now, the welcome call actually increases your status like crazy, number one, and it makes you look so much more professional, and many people, like 99% of people, do not do this. And you can get a friend, a girlfriend, you can pay a virtual assistant to do this. It's really, really simple. As soon as you sign somebody on, about 30 minutes to an hour later, have one person, like I just mentioned, a friend or whatever, call up the client and basically say, hey, John, it's so-and-so from AI agency. I just saw that you signed on with us. Congratulations. We're so excited to have you. What are you most excited about? Now, what this is doing, number one, it's good customer service, just taking care of the client and onboarding them. Number two, it's getting them to reaffirm in their mind that they made the right decision by going with you, because they're going to tell you why they're excited to start working with you. It's going to mitigate any buyer's remorse and thinking like, oh man, I just spent like $5,000 plus with them. I don't know if this is going to work out, whatever. You're going to basically reaffirm in their mind that this is the right decision, and they're going to tell you why they're excited. Yeah, I know I don't know much about AI, so I'm excited to see the system work and get us some more cases or whatever, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Awesome. It's like a 2-minute to 5-minute call maximum. If the person has any questions, they can ask any questions. Basically, if the person calling them doesn't have the answers, be like, oh, it's a good question. You know what? I'm going to save that for Aiden for the onboarding call. He's going to go over that with you in more detail, and I'll make sure that he covers that for you on the onboarding call. How does that sound? Great. Just want to make sure that your onboarding call is set for this date at this time. Sound good? Yep, boom. It's like you're booking another appointment and getting them in. So just because you have the sale and you've converted doesn't mean it's over. You need to continue to sell your prospect on why they made the best decision to work with you. And that starts in the onboarding process as well. And then, of course, your onboarding call, super, super important here, is to set expectations accordingly, okay? I can't tell you the amount of times I've seen other people, and I've also been through this myself early on, where there are blurred lines within who does what. So meaning you handle this task or these type of things within the working relationship, and the client handles these. And then you want to have dates and deadlines and what to expect, what is done what by when, okay? Making sure that you're very clear in communication and who does what by when and whose focus is on what will allow you to, number one, not have clients come back and be like, oh, hey, can you actually deal with, creating a website for me and all this stuff, and like doing all these things that are basically out of your control. Like, we don't do that, right? If you want to do that, it's going to be X amount of money, but we're not just going to like start doing something on top of the retainer that you're paying us, right? That's going to like clearly identify, here's what we do, here's what we don't do. Also, it's going to stop clients from basically being like, I don't feel like I'm getting the thing I was promised, right? If they feel like you aren't doing your job or something, even though you're doing the thing, I mean, obviously you want to fulfill, and that's that's part of the next point here. But the problem is that some people, if they don't know what's being handled, they start to automatically think that things are wrong. So you want to be very clear in who does what and the deadlines in regards to what needs to be done by what time. Which brings me to my next point, which is speed to value. So within the first 7 days, ideally, you want to try and get somebody the value as soon as possible. Sometimes, especially for AI and agency services, it might take anywhere from like 14 to 21, even within the first month. But here's the thing, in order to mitigate any type of negative client interactions or negative client experiences or chargebacks, you want to just be super, super clear with expectations and tell them, hey, full transparency, John, we typically don't see any conversion till like maybe the end of the month of our first month working together, but you'll get leads within your first 2 weeks. Does that sound fair enough? Right? I don't want to set anything on any unrealistic expectations and under deliver, right? And you want to tell people this because they would respect the fact that you're not trying to promise them 50 grand in 3 days of signing up and then under delivering just to get them on as a client. Instead, you want to be like, hey, listen, like this is typically how it goes. First couple weeks, you're going to be kind of warming up your accounts. And then after that, you're going to start to see leads come in within day 21 to 35. And you'll start seeing conversions come in slowly then on after. Does that sound fair? Fine, right? They'd rather you be open and honest with them. But of course, you want to be focusing on speed to value because that's the thing. If you can get them value quick, again, they're more likely to stay on with you and enjoy working with you. All right, lastly, that's ultimately, these first two is actually how you're going to be able to really retain people, is getting them a value consistently. And then at that point is when you can start getting testimonials from them. You can also upsell them into consulting or even selling other products. That's where you see a lot of my other charges here have also been consulting fees within here, where I've upsold other people into basically helping them build a sales team, helping them build some sort of other automation that we need to do for them. So there's other opportunities in there once you start getting clients good results because there's more problems to be solved. So that's it for this video. I hope this helped in regards to starting your first AI agency to get it to 100 grand, and let me know in the comments if it was helpful. Cheers.